share that, you know, it's like that. Dawson is basically what's a flight Dawson it's hours every month. That clip it, sit there, hold it off. It's drove her lane, we drove her car, and I realized that until we got home with the phone. I was actually getting so Hispanic and the other part.
Right, and welcome to the March 14th meeting of the Beavercreek Rotary Club. I want to thank our trainers and Brandon O'Shaughnessy, Eric Marcus for pretty much everything. Beth Handwerker for helping with the setup, program assistance, Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Sweet for training programs, and Jim Gunn for the website. So they need to really good vacation, please. Thank you. Would you join me in prayer in this beautiful Friday afternoon, our last meeting for the winter?
Yay!
Oh, Holy Creator, we thank you for this absolutely drop-dead gorgeous day. We thank you for the fellowship among us Rotarians. Thank you for the projects that we do. Thank you for the leadership that we have had. Thank you for the leadership that is to come. We look for your guidance as we find new things to do to help people in our community and our surroundings. We ask these in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dan. Joe's not here, so Secretary's report, Eric.
I think I have it right. Just people are snugging on me when I'll see who it was. We have 25 members attending and 5 guests. Well, I'm gonna try to get the guests. Let's see. Don Evans. I gave you the new guests.
Yes, I have them here. It's John and Mimi Mamara. Thank you.
Okay.
And then we have Amy Zimmerman over here. Amy is heavily involved in Kiwanis. She's an international president, so I mean, she's done a lot. So,
Wow. Okay, welcome. Beth has a guest.
I have my coworker Kenzie, and I need to get her organized and get her an application, but she's ready to come.
say this is the third meeting.
Yep, she's
Awesome.
she's legit.
And Stephanie Cronin has a guest who's not even in the room at the moment.
Yeah, so my son David's here. So he's gonna share some stuff, turn an announcement, he's helping each other. Yep.
And then we have another special guest, Stephen Brown. Let's see, that gives us, okay. I want to announce Deborah Gross is back. She spent a few months living in a nursing home someplace, recuperating from falling down and breaking a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I see that.
So that's 25 members, 54.3% on this final day of winter, final Rotary winter day.
Very good. Chris Hadley had a business thing come up, so going to be here later. He won't be here. Sergeant Arms report. So we'll kind of go by that. We like to open up for Happy Bucks. $7, something like that, like a sheriff.
So, I got a happy bucket at Stephen Brown's here, but I got to see Stephen Brown in the middle of thousands of people a couple weeks ago in Columbus, walking down, and I said, "Hey, there's a Rotarian," and I introduced him to a Dayton Rotarian while we were there. So we were there for the outdoor classic. So great time.
A little chilly.
Nice. So yeah.
So we didn't need lots of Happy Bucks today because we didn't have any fines, so we need to make up for this. Everybody be happy. Yeah, you go first.
As coming to school, it's kind of one of my favorite movies of all time. So anyway, performances tonight, Saturday night at 7, and then Sunday at 2. You want to just look good at home.
So I'll give a happy announcement. On April 26th, mark your calendars, we are going to be partnering with Beavercreek Parks on their sort of spring event. So our district for Rotary is encouraging every club to get involved in some kind of community project that day, so that around the district, we're all doing something. So we will help us set up for the event. We will have a booth there and we're looking at bubbles or something, some kind of activity. And then we'll tear down. There's also an opportunity that Monday prior to it, I believe it's the 21st, that if I can get a couple of Rotarians to volunteer to help prepare the park actually for the event that follows Saturday. So I will send out a sign up genius through DAC TV so that you can choose what volunteer activity you'd like to participate in. We really need volunteers, especially because I don't get shit.
What park is that gonna be on?
Dominic, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know, that's only from 11 to 1, so it's not a huge commitment. We do set up, prepare, and then tear down. The event itself is only 2 hours.
What name was
The
26th.
I'll give 3 happy bucks for the 3 days I spent with my wife in the hospital. With blood pressure that was enough that she could have like pressurized the whole water system in Greene County. Like 235 over 120. She's home, she's alive, she's not gonna die, so there's a big guy.
St. John Bill.
Yeah, the burger.
I'll give a couple of happy bucks. Hopefully thankful to Eric's wife isn't gonna die. But our last couple of weeks I've been out, but our son celebrated his 12th birthday. And daughter celebrating her 15th birthday, and super proud of her too. She worked really hard, in particular at softball, and she is going to be the starting varsity pitcher for our high school football. So that's freshman. So very proud of her.
Congratulations.
I'd like to give a happy buck on the way to work. Yesterday, I did a deer. And
Been there.
the deer died instantly, which so it didn't suffer. I did not die.
Thank God.
And no injuries, me and just the car. So pretty lucky.
Yes.
Two happy bucks. One, next weekend is Ryla. Weather's supposed to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. Number two, just give you an update. Went in for surgery, did some inspection. The guy said surgery is not your best option, so I appreciate him not doing an unnecessary surgery. So everything's good so far.
Very good. I have a happy 5. Some of you know, some of you don't. My wife had corneal transplant on Monday. Tuesday morning was a really tough day because the pressure built up. Too much pressure I could do. They got that taken care of, and as of today, she's doing extremely well. So I'm really happy. Now, anyway, to worry about now is the transplant being rejected, but they're not, so everything's looking.
I had a couple of happy bucks. I'm part of the Office of Spouse Group on base, and they've made the decision to become a joint ranks base, which is kind of announced. So if you know anybody who'd be interested in that, I'd love to be in contact with you and maybe move forward in a joint manner. We had a scholarship application open up. We've had 70 applications. We'll be awarding $28,000 in scholarships to military enlistments this spring. And I'm about to hand it off to the judges. I've redacted. So happy to be done with that. And final announcement, my son David's a recent Purdue graduate, nearly straight A's. He's in this officer right now. And then while he's doing that, he's been working on his certificates and different data analytics, dashboards and things. So he's looking for a project. So if there's a business, nonprofit who maybe is like, you know what, they've got all this data, don't have the time and expertise, he'd love to maybe connect with you and see how maybe he can partner with this. Okay, so David, so here's David, so you guys can connect with that, but that's what I have. Just happy to be here on this beautiful.
I'm gonna stand up. I already took this in. I'm just happy to be here.
I got a Couple, grateful that roofing season's full on and ready to go. I just closed a contract with KOA Campgrounds in Brookville. And then also, my wife and I just the other day celebrated 13 years of knowing each other. So we've been together.
I have a happy announcement for the club. On April 4th, and I'll be reminding you again until April 4th, Holly Beard from Carrot Sportswear is going to be here. A lot of you have been asking for different type of sportswear with Rotary emblem on it. She's going to be here to show you some different clothes that you can order, from jackets to maybe some shirts and everything that maybe you would prefer other than the polo shirts. So she'll be taking orders. She's told me she will take credit cards as well as cash. So April 4th, she'll have some tables set up with some samples and catalogs and that type of thing. So again, I'll keep telling you until April 4th gets here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since it's my first Rotary meeting, so thank you for allowing me to crash, and in honor of your speaker, which is the reason that I did want to come crash short today.
So that's the way life should be, lots of happiness. Keep bringing it out, it's really.
I allowed to?
Sure.
This is not my first Rotary meeting, but my first Beavercreek. And in honor, if you don't want to go see, or if you've already gone to see Shrek, but then you want to go see Mean Girls and also musical, I have a daughter who is performing in the last of, I think, 8 performances, and my happy focus that it's over. So thank you. See you.
I'll do one. Sure. Yes, hi, John Milano and my wife Mimi, recent retiring from the Air Force out of the Pentagon back here. And just our first Rotary meeting, and we're very thankful for just introducing us to this. Also very thankful, I just had hand surgery, and so just got word it's doing very well, so thank you very much.
Oh, welcome, we're glad you're here, and come back and see us. You will find out today we do have excellent speakers, so. Anyone else? Very good, okay, let's go ahead and do sure. We've got announcements coming after this. If it's just an announcement, okay, if you're not paying money. Yeah. You're like. All right, check drawing, today's number is 653-699. We are looking for the 10 clubs and half the proceeds go to our Christmas basket. Give a look at one. Your thoughts?
Oh, come on, Shannon. I have 6 jokesters in here. Yay! Right there. So, back rows.
Side rows. Okay, let's do announcements. Stephen, you have an announcement?
By raise of hands, who knows what Green County Fish Pantry is? And it better be every Rotarian raising their hand. So the drawing that we do, it goes towards our Christmas basket. And the Christmas basket is partnered with Green County Fish Pantry. So obviously they're a food pantry, Green County. Last year they fed over 14,000 families. Gail, who is pretty much the flagship of the fish pantry there, is retiring. So mark your calendars for Tuesday, this Tuesday. She's retiring. So at the fish pantry from 2 to 6, we'll have a little retirement party for her. So it'd be great to have some Beavercreek Rotary show up and thank her for her service and all the partnership they've done with us. The fish pantry is in Xenia. So kind of over across from the BN, which is down a little bit farther.
So I'll be there. I got proclamations for it, so.
I have one more announcement. So April 10th, the Spouse Club at Bright Cat is going to be doing a silent auction as a fundraiser. And so throughout the year, they support things like the Fisher House, the First Sergeant's Christmas, donate dinners, all sorts of things for the base. USO, the list goes on. If you or your business would like to make a donation, either a product, service, or a financial donation, I'm going to be putting together some sort of gift basket that towards that. But this is one of the bigger fundraisers. It also just see the auction is April 10th. So we're trying to get all of the donations together by on that. But if you have anything, just know with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I got a couple. There will be a board meeting following today's meeting. Also, I sent something out earlier this week about the district gala coming up, District 6670. It's going to be at the Museum of the United States Air Force. There's a link that you can sign up. If you can attend it, please try to do that. It'll be a fun time. We've already talked about the Rotary Day of Service, so we have more information coming on that. It's also time to start thinking about Founders Day. I know it's about 2 months away, but it'll be here before we realize it. So we need to start thinking about how we're a couple of awards, a community service award, the Marion Harvey County Award, and a couple of other things. David Kuzek is working on revitalizing the golf hunting, so you'll have more information about that coming up soon. I don't know exactly when that'll be, but we'll be back in touch. And please consider offering a friendly opportunity to join Rotary. It's a great organization, and it's really great to have you just walk in on the streets and I saw your meeting like how. So that's good. Thank you. Now, I'm happy to introduce our guest speaker, Karen Colonna Ring. She's an inspiring entrepreneur and resilience rock star. I met Karen recently and was captivated by her ability to connect with people. Karen's life took a profound turn when she faced the unimaginable loss of her daughter, which became the catalyst for her incredible journey of self-discovery. Through her experiences, she unearthed her resilience and superpowers, humor, empathy, and unwavering grit. Now she's a sought-after keynote speaker, revenue consultant, and podcaster. Karen shares her story with a blend of vulnerability and humor, helping others navigate their own challenges. Her engaging high-energy talks are packed with actionable tools and insights that empower audiences to foster their personal resilience. With over 30 years of experience in leadership and nonprofit work, Karen resonates with everyone she connects with. Her zest for life is infectious, and her message inspires hope and strength in the face of adversity. I had an opportunity to have coffee with her the other morning, just as an introduction, as a result of Coffee with Champions. And I was captivated by her ability to connect with me. And I think I'm really pleased to call her friend now. So if you would, please join me in welcoming Karen as our speaker.
Right. So I also have a microphone on me, so I wanted to make sure I didn't make loud noises. So I'm not a podium girl, so give me a second to rearrange the room. My name is Karen, so I reserve the right to be a little difficult. All right, get all my things going. Thank you guys and gals for having me today. This is literally my passion. Getting to share my strengths, my resilient superpowers with each of you and helping you unleash yours. That's the magic. Did everybody bring a cape? Because by the time we're done, you're going to fly out of here. It's a beautiful day for that. So, well, I am honored to be here. Let's make sure all the technology does what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Also good. There we go. So, what if everything that has happened to you actually happened for you? All of it, the good, bad, and the ugly. Everybody comes here today with something. There's a reason you're a part of the Rotary. There's a reason you believe in service. There's a reason that you feel excited and impassioned to unite other people. That same driving force in you that helps you to want to serve is also one of the sources of your resilience. So how did I get here? Once upon a time ago, a friend said to me, "Hey, Karen, do you want to run a half marathon?" I'm like, any normal person, wink, wink. I said, sure. Okay. I was going through a really tough time in my life. And we had done another activity together that I no longer had the time or the money to afford. And to keep that camaraderie and connection, she thought this would be a good way for us to hit the pavement. It took 3,000 miles and 8 years for me to actually say out loud to another person and myself that I was in fact a runner. And I was out one day, it was literally just like this. Everything was coming through the ground, it was warm, everybody had that energy of what was to come. And I was listening to a podcaster, and the podcaster went on to say, who better to console the woman who's lost her child than one who's already handed hers back to God? And I actually stumbled in the middle of the street because I could check that box. Then the podcaster went on and would say, who better to guide the woman through the ravages of a divorce than someone who safely made it to the other side? I slowed this time and thought, oh my God, I can check another box. The normal person would have turned off the podcast, taken out the AirPods. So, but no, I kept going. The podcaster went on. And better to support the woman who has gone through the shame of financial insecurity and bankruptcy than one who wears that cloak as a darkness that she can't shatter. Now, at this point, I actually did walk to the side of the road. I doubled over. I thought, oh my God, how can anyone check all the boxes? I could check all the boxes. And the weight of that almost made me fall. But then it hit me. I can check all the boxes. And not only am I here, strong, alive, thriving on a beautiful day, but I had survived all of that. So I had survived despite what had happened to me. So I'm going to ask you all to join me in a little exercise. We did all eat lunch, and I know whenever you get the spot after lunch, you get the food coma hitting. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to share a few things, and if you're able, stand. If not, raise your hand when you hear something you can resonate with. So, if somebody has ever broken your heart, you have been dumped. Whether it was Sally or Tom when you were 5 years old, a boyfriend in high school, or you've been on the other side of a friend breakup or an emotional breakup. Raise your hand or stand for me, whichever you choose. Okay, keep them up. This is exercise, people remember. All right, so have you ever spilled something on you on your way to someplace important? Meeting with your boss, the Rotary today, a talk? Okay, keep them up. I swear, this is endurance. We're doing this. Have you ever lost anyone? Someone close to you, a friend, anybody? All right, look around the room, and what you will see is everybody has bad things happen to them. Put your hands down. You are so much stronger, so we do resilient superpower coach. You're going to be ready. What I want you to realize, we're going to see if it does something, is that bad things happen to everybody. They happen to good people, and you're in good company. Because the things that bring us together are the things that help us grow stronger together. And through this talk today, what I'm going to do is share with you a couple different ways, some tools and tactics that I've experienced that can help you through not just through hardship, because the things that got us through it are the things that empower us to get to it. The goals, the dreams you have, regardless of what phase you are in your life, there's something you aspire to. And the best way to get there is leveraging the resilience superpowers that got you through the darkest times. It doesn't like me over here, but I like the camera. So what is resilience? People used to tell me that I was strong, and I hated it. I thought it was a four-letter because I didn't want to be strong. I just wanted to be left alone. But then I learned that strength and resilience, it's not just what you need to overcome. It really is the foundation of what you need to get to it. So resilience, very simply, is the ability to bounce back through hardship, to overcome something. It's to have the confidence to navigate hardship or hard times, the ability to pivot when things in the world and in your life change. Can anybody in this room relate to change in the world around them lately? Yeah, our world is different. Our resilience is what's going to help us not only thrive, but get to the other side of whatever it is that's in front of you, whatever your hurdle is. But you have resilient superpowers by the fact that you are here and you stood or you raised your hand. You are already a resilience rock star. So now it's your turn to unleash those same powers that helped you persevere to help you shine forward. Today, we're going to take a little journey. We're going to utilize the resilience roadmap. This same roadmap is how I have managed to get through each of the challenges in my life and set myself up for success where I aspire to lead forward. We're going to take a resilience inventory for anybody who is in a retail business or in a warehouse business. We're not going to get out calculators, but we are going to inventory some of the things that we have within us. Then we're going to talk about resetting our mindset. And then we're going to talk about meaningful connection. We talk a lot about communication, but I will tell you, meaningful, unconditional connection has become, candidly, the foundation and the core value of how I live my life. Where did it go? The Rotary is a great example of that. For me, my connection to Beavercreek started out in Coffee with Champions. And I'll talk a little bit about what led me to that meeting and what the connection has done for my life since. So let's pack up and get ready to go on our journey. How many of you in the room are packers? You need to take, I know there's at least one woman here. I know, come on, guys. I know some of you have to have the right sweater, the right shoes. You really are. I have 2 daughters, and I married a man that raised 2 boys. On our first vacation together, we chose to take an 11-day, did you hear me? 11-day road trip around the Eastern Seaboard to a wedding. My girls filled a Subaru. Pillows, blankets, plushies, every outfit possible. We had shoe bags. We each have our own shoe bag. John brought 1 suitcase. I think he had 3 t-shirts and 2 pairs of pants, and he just figured he could wear them again. Gee, you get it. But we're overpackers. So when you take a trip, you need to know, number one, what you have. What do you need? What do you have to go buy? Might you borrow? Well, our resilience is really similar to that. When you go through an experience in life, a hardship, and let me define hardship. Hardship does not have to be one of the momentous tragedies or hard things I showed at the beginning. I purposely included spilling something on your shirt. If it rocks your world that day and it puts you in a position that you're not in the right headspace to go into that review with your boss, how do you think that review is going to go? That's an adversity. You can get an argument with your husband who's getting ready to go on a trip and he gets in a fender bender and how that feels. That's an adversity. I think we need to give ourselves the grace of knowing that hardship is not always the death or the job loss. We all go through little ones every day, and all of these practices, if nothing else, I think they have more importance in the everyday because that's where we get beaten down. That's where we get burned out. So when we're packing, I have learned through my journey that there's a lot of different types of resilience superpowers. And I feel bad because you can't see. Should I wander over here? You'll see there's behavioral, emotional, cognitive. This is not an exhaustive list. This is something I collected, but what I hope you see on here is I used to think that resilience superpowers had to be something to do with being strong. Well, we all have resilience in us when we are born, but our superpowers are formed by what we go through. Not always asking why me, why did this happen to me, but maybe train your brain to think a little differently to say, How did I get through it? How did I get that raise? And that how is your resilient superpower. So I hope you see something on here that resonates. For me, as I've gone through my journeys, my fundamental superpowers are faith, humor, grit, and community. When I look back and charted, and you'll have an opportunity to do this here in a little bit, when I charted what got me through some of my biggest challenges, they were also the same things that I picked that would help me get through my greatest opportunities. And they change as we evolve. With every part of our age and our seasons, our resilience superpowers will evolve. But you call upon the ones you know you have, and you leverage them to lead forward. So I shared with you at the beginning my first box that I could check. And Don shared my story. I am here today. What I do for a living is because of my journey with Caroline. Caroline was 4 years old when she was diagnosed with a rare pediatric cancer called neuroblastoma. She was given a 30% chance to live on a fateful Friday of Labor Day. In that moment, my life changed forever. I would never be the same, and neither could she. The second picture was 3 weeks later. We went into the hospital for an induction treatment, and then we would leave 3 weeks later, and our whole world was upended. We would battle for 3 years, and I use that word because people think of battling cancer, but I will tell you the journey wasn't really a battle. We fought the good fight. We did what God asked us to do. And man, did I learn a lot through that journey. She taught me a grace that I never had. A nurse called her Carolyn one day and then left the room. I said, "You need to tell her what your name is." She was 6 and she looked at me and just said, "Mom, don't you think that would be really rude? I don't care what she calls me." And this before Karen was a thing. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I might get, people might make fun of me someday." But she taught me what resilience was. She taught me how to laugh in the face of fear. She taught me that community was going to be the cornerstone of everything in life for me. In a world that separated us with COVID, in a world that politics dares to destroy us, to me, that community and connection is really, it's the bedrock of how we ignite and unleash our resilience. The fact that we're all here today and you all stood. As I share my story, you're all thinking of the things in your mind. You've already overcome everything you've overcome. You are a resilience rock star. Whether you want to have the cape or the guitar, that's up to you. You each have your own, do you want to be a superhero or do you love your rock star? I kind of want the cape. Have you ever been asked if you could have a superpower? What would it be? How many of you would want to fly? Anyone? Invisibility? I know, but that's the best one. It was one of the clothes from there.
No.
Oh, there you go.
No.
But what if you could read minds? I think that's a scary one. Find out. You don't want to necessarily see what's there. So let's get back to the trip analogy for a second. We started off by taking our inventory. We figured out what got us through the tough times. We figured out what we had in our suitcase to take with us to get where we want to go. Well, so we're driving down the road. What happens to us is not as important as how we interpret it. It's the season, the orange barrels are coming out. Anybody headed out on spring break on a road trip coming up in the next few weeks? Yeah. We know what that means. We're gonna get stuck in traffic. We're gonna get rerouted, detours. We might not even get to the right destination, let alone on time. Totally ruins the trip, doesn't it? Or it doesn't. We have a choice in our attitude, and we have the ability to change our mindset. So when you look at that situation that you're in, it doesn't have to be, "Oh my gosh, what happened to me?" It's what can I do with it? And there are usually 3 different C's that help to contribute to our choices. And those are our control of a situation, our courage or lack thereof, and our confidence. When you make a decision on something and you are not on solid ground, think about it. If you're in a situation where you don't have control, do you feel really confident about the decision you're making? Does your mind play that doubt game with you? Imposter syndrome often creeps in. You're really not going to be good at this. You shouldn't. So of these three, number 2 is my nemesis. And it's not having courage, it's the antithesis, and that is fear. Fear has been my biggest choice and mindset motivator for a lot of my life. Got to a point where I said no, not anymore. It was a journey to get there. Fear usually affects us in 3 different ways. We either freeze, we flee, or we fight. In the majority of my circumstances, I froze. And what that looked like for me in my journey was box number 2. When I was going through my divorce, my husband and I had been together for many years. Caroline was gone about 5. And 80% of marriages will end in divorce after the loss of a child. And we met the statistic. We had a few other things that were not on our side. My husband had a challenge with alcoholism, and our home wasn't always a peaceful place. But I stayed put because my daughters were 5 and 12. And I was afraid I didn't have control over what would happen to them when I handed them off every other weekend. Would they be safe? Would he drive with them in the car? I'd go back to the superpowers and count on faith because they had a father greater than what I could provide for them. But I sat there one day at the dinner table, the 4 of us were there, and the girls kept looking back and forth at me, eye to eye, side to side. And I noticed they were trying to gauge me. When Daddy came home today, was he happy and funny? Or was he going to be angry? And if Dad get a fight, how should we behave to me? And then it hit me. I was teaching 2 young women what marriage looked like. I showed them that if you sit quiet and you stay put, and you live in your fear, that was okay. And in that moment, it no longer was. So I went to see my therapist, and Judy and I have known each other 18 years. We do tune-ups now, but she's an integral part of my development and success. And I said to her, Judy, I need to make a change. This is not okay. And she said, well, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I have a little bit of the money to live on my own, and I'm afraid to hand off the girls. She goes, well, what if you go live with your parents? And I looked at her and said, heck no. I'm 43 years old. I'm not going to go back and live with them. For those of you of the right generation, Andre was raised by Archie and Edith Bunker. And I'm from New Jersey, so I can talk the talk and walk the walk. But that wasn't acceptable for me. And then she goes, well, what if you got a small apartment? And you guys just moved in there. And I looked at her and said, oh, everybody think. Oh, I can't do that. My pride will not allow me to make a choice. And then Judy just sat back. She's this teeny little thing, and she crossed her arms and she goes, oh, Karen, you've become a victim. And it was silent. Because I looked at her and I am nobody's victim. And I said, what the hell are you thinking? And she goes, well, Karen, you have choices. But you don't choose to take any of them. So you allowed yourself to become a victim. So what I had to do was figure out what was the worst possible situation that could happen. And I had to awfulize it. And then awfulized is like my favorite thing. So 12-2, awfulizing, give you an example. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out the worst possible thing that could happen. And then once you do, then you figure out what's most likely going to happen. Then you figure out what you're going to do about number 2. So I'll give you. Oh, man, I'll give you an example. So in that situation, if I leave my husband, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'm not gonna be able to afford a place to live. If I can't afford a place to live, then we're gonna become homeless. If we become homeless, my kids are gonna become drug addicts. If they're gonna become drug addicts, then something might happen to them. We're not gonna have a place to live, we're gonna live in a van down by the river. Shout out to SNL fans. So you can see how quickly you can go from, oh my gosh, to everything's over. And when I would authorize, it would put me in a position to know what I could do. Once I knew what action I could take, that gave me confidence. And third C, once I had confidence, I could act. And when I acted, it also helped me reframe my mindset. So when you are able to take an action in a situation, then you're able to drive yourself forward and you're using those resilient superpowers to propel you. Stole my thunder. So you get to choose if you're going to be the victim or the victor. And how you get there is by leveraging the 3 C's. Reset your mindset and allow what happens to you to be the indicator of what you can do with it, not what it's going to do to you. So, does anybody take a trip and the first thing that they do is they go to social media and they post on there about where they are or picture them and their family? Anyone? This is actually a FaceTime of my daughter. She is in Budapest in the picture. She lives in Paris, France right now. She's an au pair. And I get to go all over Europe with her via her phone. I have been to the Northern Lights in the middle of the night. I have been to the baths in Budapest. I have been to the Eiffel Tower, twinkling and not twinkling. So I am not suggesting that we find a meaningful connection on social media. No, I did not say that. That is not a takeaway. But in the road trip analogy, that's what we do. We tell people where we've been. We tell them what we've loved. Sometimes we tell them we hate it, so they don't get there and do that awful porn or the food. They don't get the lobster over here because it's whatever. We share our journey, right? So in the resilience roadmap, what we need to do is we need to build meaningful connection on 3 things: authenticity, vulnerability, and community. When we show up as who we are, exactly who we are, then we're able to give a part of ourselves to somebody else. And it's in that vulnerability that meaningful connection is built. I went to my first coffee and conversation back in January, and I went because my website was down. Squarespace and Google have tried to stop me in my tracks so many times in the past 6 months. I believe that they are the devil, and the devil doesn't want me talking about hope. So the way that that happens is take away her email address, shut down her website. Well, that happened. So I could not execute on a webinar that I was going to do. And I'm like, now what am I going to do? My business is built primarily on electronic outreach. So I looked at my feet. And I knew that they could drive, they could walk. And I decided I was going to go out to my community and I was going to spend some time with real people, just getting to know them unconditionally. I didn't go to network. I went to meet and be the people. There's several of you in the room that have come from that. And I'm here because of that. And what it did is it opened up a gateway of conversations and opportunities for me to help other people. People who needed my testimony. So my test becomes my testimony, right? And then my testimony becomes someone else's tether. They're either holding on for dear life because they're going through something hard that maybe I can help with, or they're about to leap onto a high wire or a trapeze, and I'm going to tether a safety that helps them know they can. Because I did, and you will. So, how do I share vulnerably? This is me about a month ago in the big snowstorm. I have taken 2 cold plunges. Does anybody here chili dip for fun? Oh, okay. So I started doing this because my body hurt. January of 2023. I was in pain all those years of running and surgery. I don't run anymore. But I started dipping and then I started recording it all. I had no idea why. But then each one of those dips became a place for me to talk. and to share what's on my heart. Those things include job losses. My mom passed away at that time. A friend had a diagnosis. I used my tub to show what resilience looks like and to talk about what it looked like to get in. I will tell you, it was freaking cold. I started out at 30 seconds screaming. A year later, I do about 6 minutes and I meditate and I talk. But I share this. For me, meaningful connection is putting a piece of myself out there that you might not otherwise get if we're walking down the hall saying hello. So I challenge everybody here to step into your authenticity and your vulnerability in your community. Coffee with Champions is the most beautiful act of coming together. I went to Beavercreek, Vandalia Butler, and I went to Springboro. And the only chamber I joined was the Beavercreek one. So tell the others. But it really has been the foundation. Those, I talked to you at the very beginning, community. Community is how we survived Caroline's death. People wanted to serve us and give us things all the time. But my pride did not want to receive them because it meant at that time that I was weak. But I learned through that journey and the others that I shared with you that the strength came from receiving and the gift that I gave other people. Your mess can be somebody else's roadmap, so don't be afraid to share it. And the same thing, don't be afraid to applaud your successes, because your accomplishments, oh my gosh, your triumphs are what's going to give somebody else the courage to try theirs. So don't hide. All right, if you are so willing, so I talked a little bit about the resilience inventory. I actually have an activity that will take you through the resilience inventory where you can chart your own resilience superpowers. If you are willing to scan the QR code or take down the URL for your feedback on my participation today, I would love to give that to you so you can see what your superpowers look like. For anybody who wants it, I'll leave it up for a second and then we will wrap up. I can also share it with Dawn and the team, so if it's something you'd like to do later. And I do appreciate your feedback. Tell me when you're done, Ben. Baby. Send it to you.
I'm just gonna have to get up close.
It's okay, I can also send it to you. So I'm gonna pause before I wrap up. And I'm curious if anyone has a resilient superpower that you relate to that has helped you either get through it or propelled you forward to it. You can yell it out.
Ability to problem solve
Problem solving.
resonated with me from your first column.
That is huge.
There's a lot of engineers in the room.
Okay, engineers.
Got them for you.
Well, it is problem solving. I have a daughter who sings everywhere she goes. She is, I don't know, she's Mrs. Heron in the play. Singing is her superpower. That is how she processes through anxiety. And she has a ton. When we know she's singing nonstop, we know that there's probably, we need to maybe check in a little bit more. Did you ever think singing would be a resilience superpower? No. If you like to golf, and at the end of 18 rounds, you're a better person, and you go home to your spouse, and you can listen and love a little bit more open. I'm sorry, but I just made that your superpower. So next time your wife says, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm understatement." Well, I'm going to close by coming full circle. So the day that I went to divorce court, I left and I had about an hour to kill before I met my girlfriends at Tanks for Bloody Marys and French fries. So I'll have a moment of silence for Tanks. Well, I went to Caroline's place. That is what we call the cemetery. My kids were raised at Calvary. We still walk our dogs there. They believe it is their dog park. The rest of the poor people that are trying to rest in peace don't necessarily agree with us. But I was at Caroline's place and I had a conversation with my daughter. And I thanked her for living. And I thanked her for dying. And gifts that have come into my life because of that journey are numerous and insurmountable. I wouldn't be with you here today had that not been my journey. Would I have chosen it? No, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. But it is my story. And I have chosen not to let what happens to me affect what happens in me. And it's a practice that I have to practice every day. I live by my superpowers. I use that resilience roadmap. The two we didn't get to today because of time are personalizing your self-care and gratitude. Gratitude is an attitude. And I hope you felt my attitude today. And I've shared with each of you. And I hope that you all believe you now have what it takes to take some steps in the right direction. That is not a pun. My first book is being released on April 1st. That is no joke. And if you are interested, come see me. I do have some copies. These are pre-release copies, but I would be happy to give one to you. And it touches on a lot of the things we've covered today, as well as some other things. So I am grateful for your attention, for your time, and the gift of spending this morning with you. And don't be a stranger. If you'd like to visit again or in another forum, find me. Or maybe I'll find you at the chamber on Thursday morning. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Karen?
Oh, yes, I will answer questions. Yes.
I just want to say, appreciate you sharing your story. My story is obviously a little different, but I kind of had the same instance when I was younger. I was getting a lot of trouble with the law and some more serious charges. And then my cousin died in a car wreck when he was 17. And then that kind of just flipped a switch with me realizing that I was wasting time. And, I've already lived more years than him, and every day forward was another day he didn't get. And then that just completely changed my mindset. I would be a different person if it didn't happen. Obviously, I wish he was here, but I would be a completely different person. So
Well, I thank you for your vulnerability in sharing that. I'm not going to tell you that I woke up on August 19th of 2007, the day after Caroline died, and I had my keynote written. That was 18 years ago. And time does heal, but each stop on the journey, there's a reason that road is curved, right? If you got up in the morning and you saw every single detour on the side of the road, would you even get in your car and go, or would you say like, back to bed, it's safe in there? But the road's curved because you only see what you need to see at any given point in time, and it's that stretch of road is what prepares you for what's around the bend, right? Anyone else? All right. Thank you all.
As always, we give a book to the library, and that's you've done it again. This is really a good title for this book. After that, it's The Boy Who's Not Outside the Box. So very appropriate. I don't really have a superpower that I'm aware of, but the one thing I do is when I'm looking at something that don't think I can accomplish, I look back and realize how much I have accomplished. And it makes it a lot easier to go forward. So thank you for that. Next week's speaker, Dr. Peter Savard. He spoke with us before, but I think it's another one bringing that back in, and we will probably be doing something as a result of that talk next week. Our greetings next week, Brother Costa and Mike's Way. Please keep your eyes open for any upcoming programs. The Beavercreek Rotary.com or on Facebook. As I said before, there will be a board meeting right after this meeting. Anything else for the good of the club? Would you all please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for the king, nation under God, indivisible, liberty. Thank you very much. Have our grand young. Hey, I'm trying.
Here,